Hello everyone, this is Chris. Welcome back to Nathan 5 Chime. Today we're going to go over the items I purchased at York, at the York train meet, and it's held twice a year. Usually it's always in April and October, and it's sponsored by the Eastern TCA. And it's always fun to go to this show to meet everyone, and usually have a fun time there looking for items and talking with people. And that's what the show is about these days, is meeting people you've met there before, and or meeting up with people you've seen on YouTube. So it's really fun to interact and talk to people about what they're interested in, and what items they're getting. So I thought it'd be fun to share what I bought. So I'm gonna get behind the camera and go and show you what I bought. Stay tuned and please hit the like button. All right, here's an overall view of the things I purchased. So we'll just start up here on the top left. A lot of these are actually all these cars I purchased from Trains with a Z. And this is the car down here I was looking for initially because I'd seen it on another channel. And I thought it was a neat looking car with the green and red with the horizontal stripe there, or actually diagonal stripe. So I picked that up, and then while I was looking for that car, I saw these other cars I thought were interesting. This one here by K-Line has dynamite on the side. Another reefer, well, it's not a reefer, I guess, with dynamite, but I thought that was really cool, so I picked that up. And up here is a K-Line auto loader, and these are similar to Lionel, but they hold 6 cars instead of 4. They're longer, and these are all die cast, the body, and they're really heavy cars. So these have Thunderbirds on them. And I also thought, well, maybe I could switch out some of the automobiles and display them in my collection. And down here I picked up a Norfolk Southern flat car with a switch on it. And I thought it was appropriate, since I'm working on my layout, and maybe they would be delivering track to work on the railroad. So I thought that was neat. And some other cars I got from Trains. These Atlas reefers. They had a really good deal on these. Dry ice car and a fresh cream baking powder. I think these reefers will look neat in a long train. Just have a reefer train. So I've been picking them up, and I might eventually try to pick up some more. Another thing I picked up was this Tidy Track. This is by Woodland Scenics, and it's a device to use to clean your track. So you put those little pads on the end of the articulated arm, and you can run it along the rails and clean them off. And they have different abrasiveness pads, and also I think a pad for putting on fluid. So I'll be cleaning my track quite often, probably, as I'm working on it now. So I thought that would help out, maybe make it a little bit easier. And I got some more rail insulated joiners for Atlas track. I have to make, I guess, quite a few insulated sections. So I thought they were at a good price, all these for $13. Well, I went to the Tool Man. He's in the Orange Hall. I'm not sure exactly what the name of the store is, but I wanted to get some new cutting tools. These are mainly, the one on the left is used for cutting track, which I'm eventually want to set up an HO layout, but they're good for cutting other things, wire and things like that. The one I had was getting old, and I'd actually kind of messed it up cutting something too hard, so I got a new one. This one's used for plastic cutting, like to cut the, if you buy a model, to cut the pieces off the sprees. So I picked that up. I didn't have one of those. And I got some more jumper wires. As I'm wiring my layout, I can use them for temporary connections to make sure it's connected right before I solder. I picked up this ISO container. It's a bulk container for liquids that they use to ship, I guess, overseas. And this is something, where I work, we get these containers coming in. So I thought it'd be neat to have a model of one. Well, I picked up this Atlas switch here. This is a left hand, and also over there I've got another right hand. And these are number 5s for making a crossover. So I only had a couple of these so far, so I knew I would be using more on my layout. So I found these at a really good price. I actually got both of them for $125, and they were barely used. They looked like maybe the track had been cleaned. So I'm happy to pick up some of them. And another thing I saw on a table in one of the member halls was this science fair from Radio Shack. I had something similar when I was a kid, but it was 101. And I saw this and thought I brought back memories of the one I had. So I picked this up for, I think, around $25. And it'd be good for experimenting with something if you wanted to. And another booth I always visit is Kitty Car Collectibles, and they have a bunch of die-cast cars. So I picked these 3 up, 2 Broncos, and one is a Chevrolet pickup, but it had a interesting, I guess it's a pump even. Is it gonna focus? But it's got a pump in there and a tank. I thought it was really detailed for a little model car. So I picked that up. A Smokey the Bear. Well, here's something that was hiding behind the tidy track. This is my big purchase. It was an engine by Mike's Train House, and it's actually a SW1500. I think it was made in around 2019, and it's for the Canton Railway in Baltimore. So they had these engines. They're still in operation today. A friend of mine actually showed it to me. He said, "I can't believe they have this engine." He was actually, my friend works for the Canton Railroad, and he said he had one when they came out. He picked one up, and he couldn't believe there was one for sale at the show. And I thought about it. This was on Thursday, and it was in the afternoon late. So I said, well, I'll think about it. And by Friday morning, I decided I wanted it, and went right over to the Vince's Trains, who had a whole bunch of trains, engines, and railway cars too. But he had the most engines, I think, of anybody, and picked it up for a really good price. And another interesting thing about this engine, I'll show you a picture right now. So you see a picture of this engine on the display at the Mike's Train House booth. They actually used a picture of this engine on their part of their display. So I thought that was really cool to have an engine that was, featured on some of their advertising. Well, these 3 cars here I didn't pick up at the York show, but I'll show you them anyway. I just got them yesterday. They were from another local show that I went to, actually in Roxana. So let me show you what these look like. All right, here are the 3 cars. So I picked these all up from the same person. Got a really good deal on them. Here's the Wattle Cole, which I've been collecting this car for a while. Maybe I have 5 or 6 of them now, possibly more. And I got this flat car. This has trucks on it, 4 trucks, spring-loaded trucks. And this other Reading flat car with Reading trailers, 20-foot trailers. So I thought they were all interesting cars, and got them at a really good price of only $20 a piece. So they couldn't pass those up. Well, this doesn't really look that interesting. It's a cardboard box, but it said $5 for the whole box. And one of the things I've gotten interested in lately is erector sets. I've only purchased one at the last show, or not at York, but another train show. So this is a 43-pound box of erector set parts. Some of these are actually from another manufacturer, but I don't know if you can see, but there's pulleys and all kinds, some gears and a whole bunch of, rods and, parts to make just about anything you could think of. They do need a lot of cleaning up, so I'll see how I can get these cleaned up and maybe use them in some way around my layout. And one other thing I wanted to mention, I got interested in these through Sean from Sean's Train Depot. He's been featuring some erector sets, and his latest video on his standard gauge, he uses erector set parts for his elevated line, which I thought was really a neat idea. Well, that's my show haul. I'm going to get these trains, the cars and the engine out of the boxes and show them on my layout. So I'll show you the new Canton engine running around, and we'll put the cars behind it and see what they look like. And it was a great show. I enjoyed meeting everyone and looking forward to the October show. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.
Master here. What can I do for you?
How's she been running? She's running great.